Hello everyone, I've just finished recording this video. I want to say now before anything, please make sure that if anything that you watched here was interesting or helpful to you, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers right now and we're definitely on our way very soon. Thank you so much for watching. You haven't watched it yet, but I hope you enjoy the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach and today I want to talk about Omi, Ecomi and the future of the coin, of course Omi and VeVe, the NFT marketplace, because I've been covering this for about a week now and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about what others are thinking about this coin. I've learned a lot about what people are thinking about different crypto coins around the place, looking at altcoins, looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. And whilst I'm still definitely a noob, I'm definitely a self-proclaimed noob in cryptocurrency, I am starting to understand where I think some people are really not necessarily getting what Omi is about. Before we get into that though, I want to quickly say a huge thank you to VeVe, or more so Ecomi, of course, which is the partner company of VeVe, because they actually commented, this reason why I'm not looking at the camera right now, it's on my phone, they commented a couple of days ago, thank you for the support and the content and welcome to the Ecomi fam. We really are at the very beginning of this journey. Thank you very much Ecomi for seeing the content that I'm posting here. I'm very excited to be on this journey with the Ecomi family, and honestly there's so much to go through. It's just awesome to see that they found the channel so early, because it means that essentially it shows that they really do have their ears to the ground. That being said, there was another comment that wasn't as fun, although to be fair it wasn't toxic, which is really good because I'm from the gaming community. But one of the comments I received yesterday, I believe, from, I'm actually not going to say their name because I don't want to direct hate towards them. If you want to get rich fast, don't invest in Ecomi. I'm down 70% of my portfolio. If it goes up, I'm selling this crap coin. And I simply responded with, you're right, it's not a get rich quick. You're right, it's not a get rich quick scheme. And that's because this isn't a get rich quick scheme. And even though I'm not a pro in crypto, even I understand that, right? Obviously, we've seen Doge and we've seen other meme coins, Shiba, etc. People trying to day trade that essentially and trying to make a hell of a lot of profit, and that's whatever, that's their own prerogatives. Omi, on the other hand, is not a meme coin. It actually has a use case, and that's what I want to go over today, because I want to talk about the fact that whilst I'm personally not a pro in crypto, and I've already been schooled a little bit about how this price could go, because I essentially spoke about the fact that realistically I'd like to see this coin hit 1 cent this year, and I was told that essentially it can hit way more than that, especially with the coin going on more exchanges. I am new, so I really appreciate even being corrected. I really appreciate, because I am learning a lot. Of course, right now we're on 0.004048 and the low right now is 0.03998 and the high is currently 0.004461, which is actually more range than I normally see, I think, here. Having said that, none of this really matters. I mean, it does, obviously, it's the coin's price. It does matter on that end, but does it matter from an investment point of view? I'm not necessarily sure it does matter. So let's have a quick look at this graph right here. Obviously, we've seen some peaks around here. We saw what looked like 1 cent. Now, honestly, that was what actually drove my thought process behind a high being 1 cent, because to be fair, it is a high, but clearly there is a lot more options, possibilities, opportunities to see with Omi even this year. Having said that, I know a lot of people are looking at these lists and essentially they're trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm looking at this coin, how can I try and, try and make sure that I maneuver myself so that, I hit a peak here, then a peak here, etc. Now, there probably is some level of legitimacy to that, maybe. I'm not going to start dishing out hate towards anyone for any of that. That's up to anyone who wants to do that, but that's not what Omi is about. You can't invest at Omi and expect a quick return. It's not get rich quick. Honestly, let's have a look at this new season blog post. So this came out last night. We already covered it, but I want to go through a little bit of it. So first of all, let's just say this. The very first season of VeVe Collectibles has been truly groundbreaking, as we welcomed more than 250,000 users to the platform, who are now the proud owners of over 450,000 VeVe digital collectibles. Now, can I just say that we have not been at 250,000 users for a long time. In fact, that's basically just happened on the scale of this whole journey that VeVe has gone through, which I believe VeVe has really been around for a couple of years and they've been building this product, and I feel a bit late to the journey, but at the same time we're still so early. Of course, essentially what VeVe is about is that we can buy collectibles, and essentially there's a whole NFT behind it, there's all the technology behind it, we have AR, etc, etc. This of course is starting out as a collectibles thing that can turn into gamification, it can turn into using the technology for stuff like tickets, using it in contracts, etc. And we've already already had some really big successes as far as I'm concerned. We've had Batman, absolutely huge. We've had Cartoon Network, of course, huge as well with the Adventure Time series, which is huge. Powerpuff Girls. We've had Tokidoki, which is a bit more niche, but still huge. And we've had DC, Universal, etc. These are really big. But why haven't we seen a huge, I suppose, $1 or whatever price to Omi after we've seen these huge, and let's be honest, these are already some of the biggest brands in the world. I think the starting point is we now have the information to know that if Harley Quinn, Batman, etc. are part of the VeVe metaverse, obviously it's very early as far as the metaverse is concerned right now, but if this doesn't raise the price here, does that mean something's going wrong? Well, in my opinion, absolutely not. Now, one thing I'm not amazing with or a pro with 10 years of experience is cryptocurrency, but what I do have some experience is business and IPs. And honestly, when I first got into this, I was wondering, why is it not as high as it could be when we have some of the biggest IPs in the world already? Obviously, we're expecting to see Disney and we're expecting to see, we know Star Trek is coming, we know that Jurassic World's coming, etc. So why aren't there millions of users already? Well, essentially, VeVe is not a mainstream app. In fact, if you go to pretty much anyone in the world at this point, statistically, they will have no idea what VeVe is, and even more so, really, NFTs even. NFTs are starting to become a little bit more known. They're still not incredibly known. If you ask someone what an NFT is, they might be able to say non-fungible token, but do they know what that means? I'm still learning that, and I have a YouTube channel based on this stuff. Having said that, what I want to look at is how can this product essentially become more well-known so that essentially the worth of the coin eventually goes up to $1, $5, $10, 1,000, etc., as we've seen other coins get to, although of course not many coins have got to that point. Obviously a few have, but let's be real now, it's not common for a crypto coin to go past a few thousand. Having said that, something we covered somewhat earlier, I think a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, I can't remember now, Christian Stringer, he tweeted out at VeVe Collectible on the ESPN site. Now we've really looked at this, you absolutely love to see it, and of course here we have an advert on ESPN, so of course VeVe is putting advertising in. Now what we noticed was that this right here shows that this is a Google ad, and what that means is that essentially VeVe have started putting adverts out on the online interwebs for people to learn about maybe what VeVe is. Now, when we're looking at marketing specifically, I've also gone ahead and looked at Facebook, as Facebook is also one of the biggest, especially online advertising networks of all time essentially, and I've tried to look for VeVe NFT adverts, and lo and behold, there literally aren't any. Now, there may have been some before potentially, but I can't see anything from VeVe itself. We can see all these different adverts, but nothing here shows us VeVe in specific. We have stuff that looks a bit VeVe-ish, but that's not VeVe. None of this is VeVe. I mean, if we keep scrolling, there's nothing about VeVe. None. No VeVe ads on Facebook whatsoever. Now, that is a little bit confusing, because when I looked at VeVe's actual page, it did say that the page is running ads, so I don't know if that's a bug, but regardless, what's important to keep in mind is that when we look at Facebook or Google ads, now Facebook is a bit different, I feel like, but Google ads specifically, and some marketers who have had 20 years of experience, bear in mind that I'm in my early 20s, so I am still learning this too. But from what I understand, an advert like this, as I have run ads before myself, looking at the customer lifecycle from the marketing point of view, this of course is our lifecycle. A lot of you already know this, some of you won't though. So the first one is awareness, right? That's basically people seeing the ad. So Collecting 2.0 is here, the next evolution of collecting. This of course is where you can get the app. So that's awareness. Then we have engagement, then we have evaluation, then we have purchase. So essentially engagement means, oh, they found it. They're kind of interested, what's going on here? And then you start evaluating it. Is this something that's actually interesting? I think it might be. Let's see if it's worth a purchase. If it's worth a purchase, we get to the purchase item, and then from there we go to post-purchase, which is essentially eventually leading to advocacy, where you like the product and you're going to talk about it, and of course that then leads to more awareness. Now let me make it very clear that this essentially is an awareness campaign, and by the looks of it, I haven't seen any VeVe ads ever. The only VeVe ad I've ever seen is through this tweet right here. That of course, this ad was served to Christian Stringer. Again, we don't see anything on the Facebook ad stuff. So what I'm thinking is that VeVe is starting to, or has started to, put a little bit of money towards the awareness side. But look how many stages we have to go. Engagement, evaluation, purchase, post-purchase. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is essentially we are so early on. Quite honestly, a number of folks within the industry who know about this stuff a lot more than I do, a lot smarter people in this front than myself, have even said that actually the VeVe platform simply isn't ready for large mainstream adoption adoption, and realistically, I think we all can see that. Of course, it has been getting way better. We're now out of beta, etc. But realistically, right now we have 250,000 users. I believe not long ago there was like maybe 50,000 users. That was not long ago, maybe months ago. And currently this is where we're at, 0.004. Realistically, honestly, Omi doing pretty well for a coin this early on. I mean, even the fact that Ecomi, from what I understand, haven't even decided to pay to be on exchanges, they're being voted onto them because of the demand. It really does say a lot. Now, here's the thing. Imagine that we see a lot of really interesting and huge brands. You know, interesting and huge brands. We know that there's already a huge market for collectibles, but I'm going to go over that in a bit. See, recently we learned, of course, that Disney is very likely working with Vivi as far as NFTs is concerned. And we've gone over what the possibilities already are for Disney NFTs. In fact, that is the video that Ecomi commented on, talking about Disney NFTs. So if you haven't already watched that video, I would highly recommend it. Now let's have a look at the Walt Disney Company annual report for 2020. If we have a look at the licensing part, the company's merchandise licensing operations cover a diverse range of product categories, the most significant of which are toys, apparel, games, home decor, and furnishings, accessories, health and beauty, books, food stationery, footwear, consumer electronics, and magazines. The company licensed characters from its films, television, and other properties for use on third-party products in these categories and earns royalties, which are usually based on a fixed percentage of the wholesale or retail selling price of the products. Some of the major property licensed by the company includes Mickey Mouse, Frozen, Star Wars, Disney Princess, Avengers, Spider-Man, Toy Story, Disney Channel characters, Winnie the Pooh, Cars, and Disney classics. On a retail front, the company sells Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Lucasfilm branded products through retail stores and internet sites. We actually already looked at this, but I want to go over it again. Retail stores operate under the Disney Store name and are generally located in leading shopping malls and other retail complexes. The company owns and operates approximately 200 stores in North America, 60 stores in Europe, 45 stores in Japan, and 2 stores in China. Internet sites are generally branded Shop Disney. Then we have parks, experiences, and products. So we have the parks and experiences, which I actually want to go over this very soon, but not right now. Then we have consumer products, licensing of our trade names, characters, visual, literary, and other intellectual properties to various manufacturers, game developers, publishers, and retailers throughout the world for use on merchandise, published materials, and games. Sale of branded merchandise through retail, online, and wholesale businesses, and development and publishing of books, comics, and magazines, except for National Geographic, which is reported in media networks. Significant revenues: merchandise licensing and retail. Merchandise licensing, royalties from intellectual property licensing, retail sales of merchandise at the Disney stores and through branded internet shopping sites, as well to wholesalers, including books, comic magazines. And before we go to the next part, I want to talk about the fact that this can tie in. This can tie in with NFTs. So of course, a huge part of their operation is theme parks and resorts. Now, we've really spoken about the fact that NFTs are more than just art. Art itself is already very valuable, depending on what art it is, of course, but we can actually use these NFTs eventually, potentially, as smart contracts, which means that we could literally see NFTs being used as tickets. And even better than that, we're seeing a lot about royalties. The reason why I've read all this out to you is because I want to go over the keywords here. They talk about how they use royalties. Now, say that you buy a ticket for $50 to $100, right? Say that someone wants to buy the ticket for $1,000, whatever it is, mainly because the NFT will likely be more worthy than the ticket itself, potentially, if they build animations, even if they make it into some sort of gamified version of the NFT. Now, say I buy this for $100, and say then I sell it off to someone for $1,000, and say Disney have put a royalty in the smart contract where they take 50% of all sales in perpetuity. It means that I sell this off for $1,000, I make roughly a $900 profit, except Disney has a smart contract, so they actually take half of that, which means that I actually make $450. But then say the person who buys this from me for $1,000 sells it off for another $1,000, or sells it off for $2,000, or whatever price they sell it off for. Well, Disney has the royalties in the smart contract, so essentially we have already reconfigured macroeconomics on just ticket sales alone. Having said that, of course, impact of COVID-19 during fiscal 2020 and continuing into fiscal 2021, the world has been and continues to be impacted by the novel COVID-19 pandemic, and measures to prevent its spread impact our segments in a number of ways, most significantly at parks, experiences, and products where our theme parks were closed or operating at significantly reduced capacity for a significant portion of the year. We also had an adverse impact on our merchandise licensing business. Our studio entertainment segment has delayed, or in some cases shortened or cancelled. Theatrical releases and stage play performances have been suspended since late in the second quarter. Now, COVID COVID has obviously hit a lot of us in many different ways, and of course it is horrible, horrible, horrible. That being said, we all know that global trade has been impacted by COVID. Not just about being able to open theme parks, but even being able to sell consoles, for example. PlayStation 5 currently is still going to be in short supply throughout 2022. Apologies, I don't want to spread false information. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan has acknowledged the ongoing PS5 restock woes and aims to tackle the supply shortage for the rest of 2021. In an interview, working hard as we can to ameliorate the situation. We see production ramping over the summer and certainly into the second half of this year, and we would hope to see some sort of return to normality in terms of the balance between supply and demand during that period. So not 2022, but I think we can all agree that the main point here is that essentially global trade has been massively affected by COVID-19. Now, what isn't affected by COVID-19? Well, Twitch itself saw a huge surge in growth. For those of you who don't know Twitch, it's a gaming entertainment platform which essentially specializes in live streaming and has the majority market share within the gaming industry for live streaming content. All of the digital services within the world have essentially seen massive uprises until, of course, it meets the point of people not being able to afford services in general, but that's a different thing. What I'm getting at is, of course, NFTs themselves are digital assets, and they're going to be totally different to having to ship collectible items in real life. Which means, looking at the significant revenue, Parks and Experiences merchandise, maybe Parks and Experience merchandise will be hit, but realistically, NFTs shouldn't be hit as hard, especially if they're in high demand, which leads to the next thing I want to talk about. We know we already have these brands. There's no speculation around this. We know via the VV Medium blog post that we had these brands. I think this was launched like 2 years ago or something, maybe a year ago. Let's just go for one that's very obvious. CBS right here. We have Viacom CBS, and of course, these are all the brands that CBS owns itself: Comedy Central, BET, Paramount Plus, of course CBS itself, MTV, Nickelodeon. Now let's just go at Paramount for a second, or Paramount Plus, whichever one. Now let's have a look at all the films that Paramount has produced. Just imagine seeing action figures, seeing collectibles for every single one of these. Even better, now we see all the biggest brands out there essentially. Iron Man, Star Trek, all this other stuff, right? We pretty much at this point already know that Disney, of course, is on with Vivi. I mean, it's not confirmed, but it very much looks like it. Now, imagine we see collectibles for every single one of these, and more importantly, as they remaster more of these films, as we're seeing, imagine seeing more remastered NFTs for this stuff. None of this matters if people don't know how to buy it, how it works, are skeptical, etc. And that's where influencer marketing comes in. The only way I believe, and this is just as a marketer, the only way I believe that we're going to see mass adoption of NFTs as far as the VV marketplace is concerned for buying collectibles, etc. Right now, of course, we're in the early adopter stage, but we got to get past that in order for the price to go up. And I haven't seen a single influencer market this marketplace yet. Now, it's going to be one thing once VV ramps up the marketing, which they have said they're going to do, which it makes sense that they haven't done it yet because the app store or the marketplace isn't ready right now. But once they've actually put in the influencer marketing in place, the first thing, of course, is going to be paid activation, most likely. I would imagine that they'll pay certain streamers, certain Instagram influencers, YouTubers, etc. to talk about this content. Not NFT or crypto YouTubers, not someone like myself necessarily, not even bigger crypto YouTubers. I'm talking about Fortnite YouTubers, I'm talking about Warzone YouTubers, I'm talking about film review YouTubers. It's not just a case of paying these YouTubers, influencers millions of dollars, it's a case of these influencers actually being able to make content with NFTs. Let's just go from Pokemon, for example. Once we see Pokemon NFTs, we see Pokemon YouTubers unboxing NFTs. We all know that these videos do incredibly well. 1.8 million, 1.3 million, hundreds of thousands each time. I'm actually just going to take this YouTuber who I've actually never heard of, and I'm going to put their details into Social Blade. So this person is seeing upwards of, on average, 228,000 views per day. Now, what happens when this YouTuber goes from unboxing Pokemon cards in real life to NFTs? I think it's fair to say that the younger generation are very tech savvy, and realistically, once this becomes popular, once this becomes something that actually has some social currency to it, that is when we can start to see real adoption happening. And from a younger age, of course, it will only go up from there. But what's really important to realize is that we're still in literally season 1 of this marketplace. We have like what, a few collectibles really on the scale of how big this marketplace as a potential really is. We've seen through this that we are literally in the first phase of the awareness, marketing, life cycle, etc. with engagement, evaluation, purchase, post-purchase and advocacy. We are so damned early on, and so if anyone expects to see this go up to a crazy price in the next month or 2 months or whatever it is, I'm no crypto expert, but what I do know is business to a certain extent, I think. And so until we have a platform that will actually support many millions, bear in mind this is only one part of it. This is entertainment, we have sport, we have music, we have so many different aspects of NFTs to go through, and we haven't really even hit past season 2. In fact, we haven't even started season 2. Even with all of these brands, we are going to need a marketplace that can actually sustain tens if not hundreds of millions of users eventually, and that's going to take time. And realistically, what a lot of people who are buying into these different coins, from what I'm understanding at least, don't realize that actually we're waiting on Vivi or Ecomi, sorry, to build up this business. And anyone who's ever run a business, unless you have a huge start from something else that you've done already, and even then sometimes it's not the same case, realistically building businesses, especially when it's something like this in tech, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. So having said that, I think, you know, things are going really fast considering what we're looking at here, which of course is AR and looking at gamification and looking at all the possibilities of NFTs themselves. We are seeing, the fact that I'm even making videos about this means that we are seeing some level of mainstream attention, because I wasn't on this in the very early days and I still feel like I'm kind of late to the party, but there we go. Once this is on more exchanges, as we see more influencer marketing, as we see more brands, the only way this goes up is up. Like literally the only way this goes is up. Now, how far it goes up in what time, honestly not sure right now. I've seen some people predict that it could be, you know, 7-8 cents. We could see $1 or something. Honestly, obviously I'd be very happy. Whatever there is, I'm going to be holding until Ecomi, builds up the entire business, and that's going to be years, and I can't wait to document the entire thing. That being said, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Obviously, I've spoken about a lot here. I hope I haven't lost anyone. I've lost a lot of people by now, but those of you who have stayed, I really appreciate you. Unfortunately, this is going to be the only video up for right now, but I will be talking about some more stuff tomorrow. Something came up today, so I was busy. That being said, if this video was interesting or helpful to you, please like this video. Also subscribe if you're interested in keeping up to date with anything happening. That being said, have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.